Ford and General Motors are in big trouble, guys. I haven't been really talking about this for a few months, but it is a fact. Now, we need to recognize the reality here that these companies are dying. They are choosing not to invest in EVs, but at the same time, their second biggest car market, which is China, it's been their second biggest market for a long time now. Keep in mind, Ford and GM have made billions and billions of dollars selling cars in China, but they've also invested billions of dollars in that market. And their sales are shrinking rapidly. Now, what's Ford's and GM's response? They've acted in a manner which shows their companies are being run in scarcity mode. Anytime you run in scarcity mode, what happens? You turn into Blackberry, you turn into Nokia, you turn into Kodak. Hello, my friends. Welcome to the channel. I'm Sam Evans. You're watching the Electric Viking. I'll be at the Melbourne EV show. I'll be there on the 11th of August. Guys, I'd love to see you there. It'd be amazing to see you there. If you click on my link in the description, you can get cheaper tickets. In fact, the tickets are so cheap, it's barely even worth mentioning the price. Anyhow, I'll be speaking there at the show, so I'd love to see you there. Ford and General Motors have announced recently they are basically massively scaling back EV production. They're saying it's because, not enough demand for EVs. We don't make them cheap. We make too much of a loss on them is what they're really telling you. They do. Ford and GM both make a loss on every EV they sell. Now, we know how much Ford loses. It's astronomical. It's around $35,000 to $40,000, depending on the quarter. Massive losses on the EVs they sell, right? They're basically losing what they're almost giving them away. It sounds crazy, but they are. General Motors are less candid. They don't want to admit to you what their losses are on their EVs, but I can tell you now, they are tremendous. That's why both companies have chosen not to ramp up production. When you dip your toe in the water and you make small numbers of any product, it means you're making them boutique, right? Aston Martin. Think about what it costs Aston Martin to build a car. Ferrari, boutique manufacturers, it costs them huge sums of money. Even Lucid. Look what it costs Lucid. Look how much money Lucid is losing on every EV they sell. Now, they can't get out of this scenario. I've been talking about this for years now. They are trying to get out of this scenario where it costs them too much to make an EV. But because they're not willing to make the leap and actually mass produce EVs, which would make them cheaper, they are stuck in this no man's land. Now, unfortunately, because of this whole global shrinking of their sales, Chinese companies are basically taking over their sales in China, and their factories will probably soon power down completely in China. It will mean that billions and billions of dollars will have been lost. And it will also mean these companies, Ford and GM, where they are losing sales in other markets as well, such as Europe, Brazil, Central and South America, Mexico, where BYD is setting up and other Chinese manufacturers are coming. Well, it means that they're in trouble. Now, General Motors and Ford are paring down their EV plants. They're going to make more internal combustion engine cars instead. They're going to make hay while the sun shines, and yeah, I'm sure that'll work well for the next couple of years. But all of a sudden, things will change very fast. GM are delaying the opening of their Orion assembly EV plant until 2026. This is the second delay for the factory that will make the Silverado EV. That's the most important vehicle for General Motors, the Silverado. The Silverado EV could completely revolutionize General Motors. It's a very impressive vehicle. Range is massive, 450 miles of range. Yes, it does use a big battery pack, I know that. But that move and a decision to postpone a Buick EV, they say are down to a lack of interest for people buying EVs. Now, do you believe that? You know what I think? I don't. I call bullshit. Ford revealed last week it would be building large internal combustion, in fact, massive F-250 or basically work trucks, massive, not really work trucks to be honest, they're just enormous, at a Canadian plant, which was meant to make 5 different models of electric vehicles. The decision whether or not to go electric is obviously significant for buyers, but it's even worse for these companies. GM and Ford think that if they are to invest in EVs now, they're going to lose billions of dollars. But as you know, as Toyota have proven, it's not actually that easy to manufacture good EVs and to mass produce them and make a profit. Now, we know that in China, there's only one car company. Analysts have all proven this. What I've been saying is true, that only BYD make a profit on EVs. So if these advanced Chinese car factories are not profiting on EVs, then you can guarantee GM and Ford, who are way behind the Chinese, are not going to be doing it anytime soon. Ford and GM have already committed billions to EVs, but now they're basically walking back on those promises. And as a result, what happened? Well, Berkshire Hathaway dumped their entire stock position in General Motors. That's how much confidence they have. Berkshire Hathaway held on for 10, maybe even 11 years of GM's ups and downs. But within the last 4 or 5 months, Berkshire said, enough's enough. You guys are finished. Now, if Berkshire Hathaway and Warren Buffett are saying, yeah, our beloved General Motors, writing's on the wall, well, I think that tells you all you need to know. This week, GM announced a second delay to the EV line at its Orion assembly plant in Detroit, where it plans to build the new Chevy Silverado EV. This site, which has already been delayed previously, was meant to start production of GM's electric Ultium Silverado pickup trucks late next year. Now they're saying it's going to happen in 2026. Is it really going to happen in 2026, guys? Mary Barra, in 2016, said that in 2021, General Motors would have 18 different models of electric vehicles for sale. Yeah. Now, the Orion pushback to 2026 means General Motors won't hit its planned target of building 1 million EVs by the end of 2025. Something Mary Barra promised last year, many times. She went on Oprah, she promised it. She went on Ellen, she talked to Biden, whatever. She said, you know what, we're going to beat Tesla in 2025. Now, is that even remotely likely? Guys, do you think there's any chance of that happening? Well, the automaker has chosen to delay the introduction of a Buick plug-in hybrid as well because it says there's not sufficient demand. Now, plug-in hybrids are skyrocketing worldwide. The sales of plug-in hybrids has been incredible this year. That includes in America. But apparently GM says there's not enough demand for them. Okay. GM's revelation comes right after Ford said that its EV plant, which would make 5 different models of EVs, is now going to be converted into a big internal combustion engine Super Duty pickup production site. In contrast to EVs, which are expensive to manufacture, Ford Super Duty trucks have big margins today and apparently are in high demand. Ford is spending $3 billion to convert this factory into making internal combustion, basically. Apparently, this will help employ more staff who, are used to working on old things. Guys, make no mistake, this technology is ancient. It will be replaced. There's already the capacity to do it now. Now, if General Motors can manufacture an electric pickup truck with 450 miles of range today using their very advanced, no, sorry guys, it's not advanced at all, it's ancient. Now, if GM can make a Silverado pickup truck with 450 miles of range today, then that would mean that if you took the same, batteries which are now mainstream in China, and you put those in a GM truck, the same one, Silverado, you probably get 550 miles of range. Now, you could do the same in any vehicle you want to, but that's just today's technology. In a few years' time, that will be significantly better again. But in a few years' time, GM and Ford will still be disinterested in EVs, but even if they are interested in EVs, and if they realize that, actually everyone wants EVs now, it's going to be too late. They won't have the production capacity, they'll have stalled their plans, and honestly, their market will continue to shrink. GM and Ford will lose their position in China, where they previously have made many billions of dollars, and then at the same time, they're going to have to just focus on selling as many vehicles as they possibly can in the United States. Now, they may sell lots of cars or trucks in the US, but when you sell cars in only one country and all your sales everywhere elsewhere are just shrinking by the day, you risk becoming a company that is completely irrelevant. And that is what I see happening for Ford and GM. If you're invested in either of these companies, I question why. What is the long-term viability of either of these car companies? Nothing in their EVs is particularly revolutionary. In fact, they make a very small number. And in waiting, they're simply giving companies like BYD, Tesla, and other Chinese manufacturers more time to overtake them, to take their market share in places like China and Brazil and other places around the world. And that, my friends, signals the writing is on the wall.